Hey y'all, I cannot wait to show you where I'm at right now, but I just got caught in a rainstorm. So I can't really show you. I'm sitting underneath the porch, not a great way to look at the camp. I'm at a Young Life camp and it is amazing. What's even more wonderful is what God is doing here, and I'll share some of those stories maybe at a later time. And I'll show you the camp later. But today, what I wanted to talk to you about was following God versus hustling. We hear a lot in our society about, hustling, figuring out the formula, figuring out the path to success, making a plan, working the plan, and doing all these things. And then, which those things are great. They're great. They're great resources. But we're really at risk for replacing God's will and God's instructions with those plans if we're not really careful. We think, well, if this influencer did it this way, then I need to follow those steps, step by step by step, and I'm going to be able to do what I want to do as well. And we need to remember that people are people. People are not God. In our reading, we read Isaiah 25:2. It says, "You turn mighty cities into heaps of ruins. Cities with strong walls are turned to rubble. Beautiful palaces in distant lands disappear and will never be rebuilt." When we were reading this week in Isaiah and Micah, it was story after story of these nations that used to be great, these places of influence that used to be great, but then God, sorry, let me bring this down, but then God brought those to ruin because of their disobedience. It's really easy to look at somebody who knows a lot about what we're wanting to do and take their word as gospel. We can listen to those things, but we really have to look at God and depend on what He is saying. So it's foolish really to rely on the wisdom of people alone. We don't want to blindly follow an expert or a teacher or even a pastor. We don't want to follow blindly at all. We always want to check it against the word and see what it is that God is saying. We see, like I said, we saw example after example of nations and influencers who people thought were wonderful and great, and then they turned out to be going in a direction opposite of God. In Isaiah 26:3-4, it says, "You will keep in perfect peace all who trust in you, all whose thoughts are fixed on you. Trust in the Lord always, for the Lord God is the eternal rock." So listen to those influencers, listen to those wise people, but fix your thoughts and trust in God alone. Go, okay, this is what they're telling me I need to do. Is that really what I need to do, God? And then follow Him alone. Don't just blindly, like a sheep, follow somebody. We are like sheep supposed to be following our shepherd, God. When it says we fix our thoughts on Jesus, that is an act of the will. It's an action. It's a choice. So we have to go, okay, this is what I think, but I'm going to bring those thoughts to God and go, what do you want, God? Also, it says to trust, which just means believe enough to do it. We just have to believe enough to do it. So we want to fix our eyes on Christ, which will help us believe Him, which will then lead to our peace. So that'll save us from all kinds of discipline issues with God. So your Q&E for this week, your questions and encouragement. I've only given you 2 today, so you need to pick one and go with it. Number 1, you can survey, pick an area of your life and survey it and see, what are you fixing your thoughts on? What are your thoughts always revolving around? And then refix those thoughts on God. If you don't like that one, number 2, you can ask God to show you any area that you're blindly following somebody instead of following Him, and ask Him to show you His voice and follow that all in. All right, y'all have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to y'all on Monday. Bye.